Hannah's prayer. 1 Samuel 2. And Hannah prayed, and said, My heart rejoiceth in the Lord, mine horn is exalted in the Lord, my mouth is enlarged over mine enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. 2. There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God. 3. Talk no more so exceeding proudly, let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. 4. The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumbled are girded with strength. 5. They that were full have hired out themselves for bread, and they that were hungry ceased, so that the barren hath borne 7, and she that hath many children is waxed feeble. 6. The Lord killeth, and maketh alive, he bringeth down to the grave, and bringeth up. 7. The Lord maketh poor, and maketh rich, he bringeth low, and lifteth up. 8. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory, for the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. 9. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. 10. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces, out of heaven shall he thunder upon them, the Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. 11. And Elkanah went to Ramah to his house. And the child did minister unto the Lord before Eli the priest. 12. Now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial, they knew not the Lord. 13. And the priest's custom with the people was, that, when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's servant came, while the flesh was in seething, with a flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand. 14. And he struck it into the pan, or kettle, or cauldron, or pot, all that the flesh hook brought up the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came thither. 15. Also before they burnt the fat, the priest's servant came, and said to the man that sacrificed, Give flesh to roast for the priest, for he will not have sodden flesh of thee, but raw. 16. And if any man said unto him, Let them not fail to burn the fat presently, and then take as much as thy soul desireth, then he would answer him, Nay, but thou shalt give it me now, and if not, I will take it by force. 17. Wherefore the sin of the young men was very great before the Lord, for men abhorred the offering of the Lord. 18. But Samuel ministered before the Lord, being a child, girded with a linen ephod. 19. Moreover his mother made him a little coat, and brought it to him from year to year, when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. 20. And Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife, and said, The Lord give thee seed of this woman for the loan which is lent to the Lord. And they went unto their own home. 21. And the Lord visited Hannah, so that she conceived, and bare 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the child Samuel grew before the Lord. 22. Now Eli was very old, and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. 23. And he said unto them, Why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. 24. Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear, ye make the Lord's people to transgress. 25. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him, but if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding they hearkened not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them. 26 And the child Samuel grew on, and was in favor both with the Lord, and also with men. 27 And there came a man of God unto Eli, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father, when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? 28 And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon mine altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? And did I give unto the house of thy father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? 29 Wherefore kick yet at my sacrifice and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honorest thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel my people? 30 Wherefore the Lord God of Israel saith, I said indeed that thy house, and the house of thy father, should walk before me forever, but now the Lord saith, Be it far from me, for them that honor me I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. 31 Behold, the days come, that I will cut off thine arm, and the arm of thy father's house, that there shall not be an old man in thine house. 32 And thou shalt see an enemy in my habitation, in all the wealth which God shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house forever. 33 And the man of thine, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be to consume thine eyes, and to grieve thine heart, and all the increase of thine house shall die in the flower of their age. 34 And this shall be a sign unto thee, that shall come upon thy two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas, in one day they shall die both of them. 35 And I will raise me up a faithful priest, that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and in my mind, and I will build him a sure house, and he shall walk before mine anointed forever. 36 And it shall come to pass, that every one that is left in thine house shall come and crouch to him for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread, and shall say, Put me, I pray thee, into one of the priest's offices, that I may eat a piece of bread. What can we learn from the life of Hannah? Hannah was one of two wives of a man named Elkanah who lived in the hill country of Ephraim near Shiloh. The other wife of Elkanah, Peninnah, had children, but Hannah had no child. Because of this, Hannah was very grieved. She desperately desired a child but could not conceive. To make matters worse, Peninnah taunted Hannah concerning her barrenness. Although Elkanah loved Hannah and was very kind to her, 1 Samuel 1:5-8, Peninnah's unkindness on top of her natural grief was too much for Hannah to bear. Hannah cried out to God about her situation. She promised the Lord that if he would give her a son, she would dedicate him to God as a Nazirite, a man set apart to serve God. See Numbers 6:1-8. While Hannah was earnestly and silently praying, Eli, the priest at the tabernacle, saw her and mistook her distress for drunkenness. He made an ill-advised comment to encourage her to give up drinking, and she corrected his mistake. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief, she told him, 1 Samuel 1:16. Hannah then explains her predicament, and Eli says, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant your petition that you have made to him. After that, Hannah felt better. She had received God's promise. The Lord answered Hannah's prayer. She bore a son and named him Samuel, whose name means asked of God. When the child was old enough, she kept her promise to the Lord, taking him to Eli and giving him to the Lord to serve in the tabernacle. There, Eli worshipped God along with Hannah. And then Hannah spoke a beautiful prayer, recorded in 1 Samuel 2 1-10. In Hannah's prayer, God is presented as the one who helps the weak. Hannah and Peninnah represent the weak and the strong in this world. The strong often mock the weak, but God hears and rescues the Hannahs of the world. Hannah's prayer addresses the arrogance of the proud, contrasting their haughty words with God's knowledge, which is vast and far beyond their understanding. The bows of the mighty are broken, she says, but the feeble bind on strength. Verse 4. She begins her prayer with, "My heart exults in the Lord, my strength is exalted in the Lord." Hannah recognized that her strength came from God and not from herself. She was not proud in her strength but rejoiced in God's ability to make a weakling strong. Hannah's story gives us insight into God's heart. God does not despise human desire. Hannah's longing for a child was obviously placed in her heart by God Himself. Her husband tries to comfort her, saying in loving exasperation, "Am I not more to you than 10 sons?" He does not understand why she cannot be content with what she has, namely, him. But Hannah's desire for a son would not be quenched. She was mocked by Peninnah and rebuked by Eli, but heard by God. God did not chastise her for being discontent. We know that godly contentment is great gain, 1 Timothy 6:6. But that does not mean that our human desires, even those that overwhelm us with sorrow when they are unmet, are sinful in God's eyes. He understands our feelings. He knows that a hope deferred makes the heart sick, Proverbs 13:12. And He invites us to bring our requests to Him, Philippians 4:6. Hannah's story also teaches us that God can use human weakness to accomplish great things. Samuel, Hannah's son, grew up to be a great man of God, the final judge and the prophet who anointed the first 2 kings of Israel. But why was Hannah's story necessary? Why not just start with Samuel in the tabernacle or at the start of his judgeship? Why not simply let him be born to a God-fearing couple and send an angel to tell them to dedicate their son to God? In short, why involve Hannah's grief? Because God is glorified in Hannah's story. Her weakness, her trust in God as she turned to Him, the fervency of her desire, and her faithfulness in bringing Samuel to God as promised are all evidences of God working in Hannah's life. Her tears were ordained to be part of the glorious story of what God was doing in Israel's history. Every person experiences desires that will not be quenched and circumstances that cause grief. Many times, we simply do not understand these things. But in the life of Hannah we see that God knows our story from beginning to end, that everything has a purpose, and that trust in Him is never misplaced.